welcome to another episode of From the Script to the Screen. And it hasn't been too long. We right back with My Hero Academia. Season 7, episode 1 is out now. So, as always, gotta give a shout out to the creator, Kohei Horikoshi. And a shout out to the production studio for the anime, Studio Bones. As always, much appreciated by all parties involved. And kicking us right off where they left off last time, Season 6 ended with the introduction of Star and Stripe, who's on the cover of Volume 34. They covered chapters 329 to 331, which shows Star and Stripe officially arriving to Japan. We know that she's the #1 hero in America, and you see that her appearance is a little bit similar to what All Might's appearance was when he went to go visit the US. And throughout the episode, of course, you'd see why, because is that All Might ended up saving her family and of course was an influence to her. As she mentions, the reason why she's even here is because the request from All Might himself and the fact that Japan is a little bit in a dire situation because the villain's plans have somewhat come to fruition, and just in sheer numbers, they have the upper hand, and so they've called for help, reached out to other nations. But just how calculated All For One is, how he stated, even though organized crime was eradicated in Japan, it's not the same in other countries. And so not every country is going to be so quick to jump to the table. But how he predicts the fact that Star and Stripe has a connection to All Might, she'll jump the gun and come to his defense. And so you see just how much All Might has planned ahead. Because the reason he wants this to happen is that Star and Stripe has a very valuable quirk. And we see in the episode as they explain it, if she touches something, she's able to impose a rule on it when she calls out its name. And as you guys see throughout the fight, it's a very cool quirk because even how Shigaraki explains it, not that ironically this is a comic book, but it's comic book silly because there's no limit on the power in a sense. It's whatever your mind could think of. And so he learns throughout the fight that there are rules to it. And as you can guess, there's more limitations to it when it's imposed on living things than non-living things. Which is where the silly part comes in because again, as far as this power has no limits if you have a big imagination. Which leads us to one of her attacks. You see, something that's very underrated about the show is how much a person's battle prowess or just their intelligence matters. And so the application of people's quirks is very cool. And so we see Star and Stripe make a huge version of herself out of air, which of course amplifies her power, and then uses the lasers and other things to amplify those powers and then hits Shigaraki. So shout out to Studio Bones. Love this episode. Thought the action sequences were very well done, and I love seeing how these panels were portrayed on the big screen. Has me very excited to see how some of these other scenes are going to be looking. So they left us at that. We'll see what happens next week, but let me know what you guys thought about the episode. What you're looking forward to in the season. Gearing up for the final fight. And we out. Peace.